Where did I put those markers for the review? They were right here. Where are... Kissy! I need those. You're so silly. Today we are taking a look at the Liquitex Professional Acrylic Markers set of 3, black, gray, and white. I saw this at my local art store and my first thought was, hey, Liquitex, that's the brand my friend uses to paint. I like acrylic paint. I like acrylic ink. I like Posca pens. I'm a tradies. Now this retails for an average of $15, which is not a bad deal considering each individual marker, depending on where you go, can retail for up to $9. So that is a great deal. What really got me attracted to the set was the fact it came with a black, which black's one of my favorite colors, and I do all my inking in it. White, which I'm always looking for good white inks and markers, but gray. So you have the black and the white, which are the extremes. You have gray, which is in the middle. So normally you would actually use a combination of cross-hatching between the two to create your grays, but here they actually give you that, so that's pretty interesting. On top of this seems to be some type of competitor to Posca pen, so it's more customizing like phone. But I'm going to be approaching this as to how to use it for traditional art, using it on Bristol board and other papers like that. One thing I also want to highlight about the packaging, I absolutely love how they showed a picture of the markers in use, and they didn't have the white just overpower everything. Like, you actually see it bleed through, which is very realistic, and it's not false advertising. I really appreciate that honesty. The markers themselves are pretty nice. They're just a nice sturdy plastic with a cap that comes off and attaches to the bottom. Very appreciated. It has a chiseled nib, and it's your standard pump pen. So you just shake it, pump it, and then start using. It's got some instructions on the side, and right there shows you the measurements of the chisel nib. They also sell chisel nibs for these in case you break them. After buying them, I did swatch them. However, let's put them to the test. So I have 2 tests in mind. We're going to test the ink itself, and while we're doing that, we're also going to be checking the nib and see how that works. But after that, I want to use the white pen. And I do appreciate the honesty that they put on the packaging, but I am curious to see how well it works. So on the page before this page, I laid just the gray, the black, a micron, and a Sharpie. I just laid those down, and we're going to see how well the white marker covers that, and that'll be our second test. Give it a quick pump. That's nice. That's smooth. I'm noticing when I go back and forth, I can create a cool texture. I like that. I like how it's true black. It is a pump pen, so I gotta pump it. So what I tend to do is I have a separate piece of paper on the side that I do my pumps on, and then I draw on my main piece. That way I don't risk creating smudges or anything. This is a good chisel nib. Let's try the gray one. Interesting. So I thought this was going to be like a 50% gray. It seems to be pretty light. I would say that's honestly like a 35, but you can layer it to make it darker. So you put one coat and go on top of it. I am worried though, because this is a water-based acrylic ink, is this actually going to end up pulling the paper apart because of how watery it is? Last but not least, the white marker. Oh, that's nice. So it is a much wider marker than the actual paper, so you can actually see it fairly well on camera. I'll try and highlight that in editing. Now let's do our second test, where we're going to test the white marker and see how well it works to cover up these areas. Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty much what it advertised on the packaging. Yep, same deal. Same stick, it's bleeding through. That's not bad. That's what it advertised on the box, and I don't see this as like a whiteout white marker. Again, that's pretty much what it advertised on the box, so I'm not too mad at this. Alright, I just very gingerly put another coat, and it covered it more. So I'm pretty happy with that. But to really put this to the test, as always, we're going to do an illustration. So it actually did take me a while to figure out what kind of illustration I want to do with these markers, but I came up with something a little different. It's going to be more graphic-y, and on top of that, it's also going to be more abstract, so we're going to have some fun there. I'm going to use only these 3 markers to do the illustration, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Roll that time lapse. And we're done. We have a first for the channel where my illustration changed halfway through. Now my original idea was supposed to be this graphic tunnel that created this swirling motion with an alternating pattern that led to an artist holding a paintbrush. That didn't work. It was just not as fun as I would have liked. It was too blendy, it wasn't as clean, the patterns synced up at the end, and I was not enjoying the process of it. It was just too tedious for me, and I wasn't having fun illustrating it. So after the patterns started to line up again, I decided, you know what, I'm going to switch gears, and I did this illustration. And this is of an artist on top of a mountain with a giant paintbrush holding a giant glob of ink. And this to me was just something I wanted to illustrate. This is something I've had on my mind for a while, and I'm really happy with how this came out. Now unfortunately I used a lot of black, so that black was really used and it's pretty much gone at this point, so I couldn't fix some of the really bad streaks in this artwork. But the gray came out fine, and the white was able to touch everything up and make it look really good and clean and professional. Unfortunately, there is some paper warpage, which I really don't like, so I'm going to have to find a way to fix that. And originally, I was going to make the entire top part of this black with a mixture of white, trying a white on wet method. Now, that didn't work because I ran out of black, and I would have done a black outline around the character to give him just a bit more of a popping presence. Yeah, that didn't work because I ran out of black, but I still love how this piece came out. I think it came out really good, and as all my illustrations, it will be available on my ArtStation account for a $1 digital download. I have to say, guys, I actually really like these markers. They're not my favorite paint markers of all time, and they're definitely not my favorite markers of all time, but I really do enjoy them, and I think Liquitex Professional has a really good set of markers that they just need to develop a little bit more, and in that area I would say probably fill it up with a little more paint. And as I was using it, I did notice that the chisel nib, as nice as it was falling apart a little bit towards the end of the illustration. So if they could just bump up the quality of those nibs, I do know they have packs where you can buy extra nibs, but I still would prefer them to just focus on the quality of what you get in the packaging instead of just offering a cheap replacement. But I do like this, and I think this is a great set. If you guys want to try out some acrylic markers, these are the ones to try, and on my scale, I'm going to give them a rating of 7. They're a little bit above average, but they have a few problems that knock them down in my book. And as someone who prefers more traditional ink methods, they are not something for me, but I could definitely see them being super useful to other people. So let me know what you guys think of the illustration in the comment section down below, and let me know what you guys think of the markers. Have you used them in the past? Do you enjoy them? Or are they right up your alley and you're going to try them now? I really appreciate the feedback. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel for more art-based content. And remember, I'm J-Rod of BATTLEBrawlerproductions, and I draw power in my own soul.